Hey guys, welcome to PM Productions, the channel about music production and much more. If you're not subscribed, please feel free to subscribe and push the bell button, because we have tons and tons of videos coming up about music production, about plugins, new plugins, great plugins to check out, and much more. We teach guitar here, we teach a lot of things, so don't miss out on all the great things we do here. There's already an amazing ton of videos out there for free that you can check out anytime you want, but today we're gonna have a look at a company called Hornet, and this company I'm I really love, because they're an Italian company, and guess what, I'm Italian, so cannot be more excited about it. So I want to show you these plugins of theirs, because they're pretty cool, and also they're pretty cheap, so it's good and cheap is always good. So let's go and have a look at these plugins. I'm gonna show you a few of them, but there's a lot of more plugins that you can find on their website. So I'm gonna put the links below if you want to check that website out. Also, now there's I think there's a lot of special sales going on, so don't miss out on those special sales going on their website. Now let's go and have a look at this project that I've loaded up for you guys. Okay, so this is the project. Is a project of a guy called Gabbo, which is spelled Gaboh, and he's an Italian singer, songwriter, and I'm gonna let you listen to a bit of this track, which is coming up pretty soon. So if you wanna listen to this track one more time and don't lose it, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you will get notified as soon as the track comes out on Spotify and all the other major platforms, as well as YouTube with the video. So let's check it out, and I'm gonna let you hear this this track without any Hornet plugins on, because this is a master track. So I'm just gonna let you listen to the whole thing for a few seconds. So here it is.
Questa sera mi sento leggero e ascoltando il rumore del cielo mi ha salvato una luce lontana qua giù. Se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales puoi trovare dell'arte sincera, tanti artisti che ci hanno raggiunto qua giù. Torma arancia simpatica, ti illumini ancora stasera con gran dignità, ma non ho tempo da lavorare.
Alright, so that's pretty much the track. There's that's the whole song. It's not the whole song. We just heard a third of the song, so it's not the whole song. Anyway, so this is mostly the sound of the song, the vibe. Okay, that's what I wanted to say. We have guitars, we have drums, we have bass. It's kind of an indie song, so to speak. It's more like a kind of a, can we say, like Bob Dylan-ish sort of genre. I mean, I'm not comparing it to the Bob Dylan. I'm just saying, the type of genre is like very lyrics oriented, and I mean, probably you guys are not. If you know Italian, probably you've understood a little bit. It's about a suburb, very special suburb in Rome. So actually, it's a very cool suburb because it's all made with paintings and graffitis, which are really cool. You should go and check it out. The suburb is called Tormarancia. And you can check out the graffiti they made. They're huge. They are humongous. They, tall as the buildings. And you can check it out on the internet. You can find, photos of the graffiti that they special artists made. Together with the. It's not something like illegal. It's actually something that they, organized. So it's really cool to go and check it out. If you guys haven't been there yet, I suggest if you ever travel to Rome, go and check it out. Anyway. Anyway, other than, tourism and all that sort of stuff, which is not what we're about today, I'm going to show you a few plugins about this Hornet plugins that I think they're really cool. So first up, I'm going to show you a cool delay, which is called Delay Plus. And here it is. So I've put this delay over a few vocals which are sort of overdubs, and I want to show you what it does. So I'm gonna reload it again because I've noticed last time I've put it back on default, it wasn't on default. So I want to make sure that the default section is on, because I want to show you how cool it is and how it actually sounds awesome just by putting it on without not even touching any knobs. So let's listen to it. So I'm gonna go for it.
Se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales puoi trovare dell'arte sincera. Tanti artisti che ci hanno raggiunto qua giù.
Okay, so that's basically the delay, just putting it on without not even touching it. So that's really cool. And I want to show you the two tracks that I've just loaded, which are to backing vocals. I'm gonna let you hear it without any delay on it. There's a bit of reverb, of course, but I'm gonna show you without delay. So
se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales puoi trovare dell'arte sincera.
So as you can hear, of course, there's no delay. So as soon as I put the delay on, the delay doesn't sound too foggy. It doesn't sound like it's covering the whole the whole song, the vocals, but it sounds pretty good with it. So let's listen to it again.
Se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales puoi trovare dell'arte sincera.
So I think it fits pretty well with with this type of vocals, which is really cool. But let's go and try a few other presets just for the sake of it, because I mean I know presets are probably I don't know in which part of your production life you are. There's a moment in production where you feel like presets are like a lifesaver, and there's a moment in the life of music producers where presets are basically like the no-go sort of thing. So I don't know where you are at now, but sometimes presets can be good. I mean, I think it's very important in life in general not to be with prefixed ideas, like where you stand like on one side or the other. I mean, there's no fixed rule. There's no like presets are bad or presets are good. It's just like just go with what works. Okay, as a lot of people say, use what sounds good. I mean, don't be like you know what I mean, like square-minded. Just go for it. Okay, so in this case, I believe presets are pretty cool, and I think you can do a lot of things with just these presets, and I'm going to show you why. Let's hear the cell phone echoes, for example. So this is the cell phone echoes. It's kind of a special effect.
Se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales puoi trovare dell'arte sincera.
So as you can hear, there's like some sort of like very fizzling voicing of the original voice, which is kind of cool. There is a bit of noise on this preset, and I don't know why, which is very weird. But I have to be honest, it still sounds kind of cool. Now let's listen to the slapback, for example.
Se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales puoi trovare dell'arte sincera.
So this is very subtle, but it is actually there. I can hear the difference with and without the delay, because I know there's a bit of reverb, but listen to it without the delay slapback.
Se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales puoi trovare dell'arte.
So you can hear the tail is a lot more straight than the tail with the slapback.
Se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales puoi trovare della.
I mean, can you hear there's a bit? I've just stopped it there, like in the middle of the phrase. You heard there was like some sort of vibrating delay happening. So that was really, really cool. Now let's try maybe something a bit weird, like for example, late to the party.
Se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales puoi trovare dell'arte sincera. tanti artisti che ci hanno raggiunto.
So So this is a very long tail of delay with also, I think, a little bit of modulation, and also there's a lot of retardation, which is probably the most interesting thing about this preset. Now, that's probably why it's called late to the party, because there's probably can I see the actual value of feedback time of pre-delay, well, not pre-delay, timing. Oh, there it is. So the left time of the delay is about 3,000 milliseconds, which is basically 3 seconds, and the right time is 5 seconds. So before the delay kicks in, especially the first part that kicks in, which is the left part, it starts after 3 seconds of the actual voice singing, and the second part goes for the second repetition starts at 5 seconds. So that is a very, very long delay. I don't know if I've seen plugins with that sort of huge amount of delay time, which is kind of cool to make some really interesting effects. So I mean, we have a lot of things going on in this delay. I don't want to go through all the presets, but I just want to show you the potentials of this delay, which are a lot, and I mean a lot. And now we haven't even gone through all the knobs and all the presets. I mean, there's so many things to know. Like, for example, of course, if you want to be a bit more advanced and you want to actually go for a DIY, do it yourself, you can I mean, so I'm gonna show you in general all these knobs and sections, what they are for. So we have I mean, as you can see, this is the delay part, so how long it takes for the delay to kick in on the left and right channel. Then we have the feedback for both of the channels. We have the panning, if you want to pan hard left or hard right, the delay when it starts bouncing. So in this moment, there's a bit of the first delay on the left side and a bit of delay on the right side, and also we have a bit of right side and a bit of left side on the right time delay. So we have it's not very wide in that sort of sense. Also, we could sync the delay, which we're not going to do now, but it is an option. So that is also really cool, and we can also link the timing of the two delays. So that is interesting as well. And we can link feedback. Now, another thing important, we have the input and output level. As you can see, this delay has a 24 dB extra output level, which is why when I kick it in, you can actually hear a volume difference, okay? Because usually delay doesn't really give a volume difference. It's not like gain or like distortion or anything like that. And also, I think it's really important to notice there's two other sections that are really, really cool. One is the filtering section, which is based on high pass, low pass, feedback distortion, which I think is a very interesting, control. I haven't seen feedback distortion on delays a lot lately, which I think it could be something interesting to work on. And also a dry wet section, so you can choose how much you can hear the reverb. So maybe you can put this, the delay, you can put this delay straight on the channel bus if you don't want to use a auxiliary bus. And also we have this section, which is probably the most interesting, and we haven't even heard, and maybe I'm gonna show you now, for example, with the totally weird preset, what you can do with this section of the LFOs, which are basically just like any synthesizer. They're like they're a frequency modulator, so you can use these LFOs as frequency modulators. I'm gonna show you in a second. So here it is. The vocals with, for example, this totally weird preset. See what happens when you use these two LFOs in a very extreme way.
Se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales, puoi trovare dell'arte sincera.
So you can hear the LFO is actually going up and down, and by going up and down, you change the pitch of the vocals, which is really cool. So there's a lot of things, and you can choose between sine waves, you can choose triangle, square, saw waves. So you have a lot of options here. And also you can see here there's a little section which says AD Converter Emulation. And AD Converter is probably basically sort of an emulation of what would happen to the delay when it goes into the analog world. Okay, and also we have a bit depth. So if you want a higher resolution of the delay, you can do so. You can just choose it, and you're ready to go. So this is a little bit about the this delay, which is the delay plus. I think it's really cheap. So guys, if you're looking for a cheap delay, and I don't mean cheap as in like bad, I mean like cheap as in like good but cheap, so not really expensive, you should really go totally check it out. Now, another plugin that I think is really cool is the Hornet Graphio, which Graphio means scratch in Italian. So you can probably guess what that is. And basically, it is a saturator, exciter, and a bit reducer, which can really become sort of extra saturation sort of thing. So we're gonna check it out now. Now, before I start, you can see there's 3 main sections, and these 3 main sections basically are for 3 different bands. So we have low band, a mid band, and a high band. And you can choose to use this plugin in a multi-band mode or in a single band. And what happens when you put it on single band and you switch the multi-band on, you have left only one section of this plugin, because obviously the other 2 sections are made for when you have the multi-band mode on. So now I'm going to start with the single band mode on and just show you what you can do with these 3 sections of the plugin. So I've just loaded the Graphio up onto the main vocals, which they're already printed with effects. So this is because this is a master stem project, and I'm gonna show you what happens when you kick it in. So what I've done now, I've added a little bit of saturation, and I'm gonna show you the difference with and without saturation. So here it is with.
Se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales, puoi trovare dell'arte sincera.
And here's without.
Se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales.
Now I'm gonna make it extreme so you can actually hear the saturation kicking in.
Se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales, puoi trovare dell'arte sincera.
Now, you probably haven't noticed, but the third knob of this section, it's actually a dry wet, and it's very low. So if I'm gonna put the wet up, of course you're gonna hear a lot more distortion. And since I've actually added 60 dB of gain to this song, it's gonna be very loud. So make sure you control your volume when I do that, so you don't get electrocuted by the sound waves. Not electrocuted, you know what I mean anyway. Okay, so here it is.
Se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales, puoi trovare dell'arte sincera. Tanti artisti che ci hanno raggiunto qua giù.
Gonna put it.
Se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales, puoi trovare dell'arte sincera. Tanti artisti che ci hanno raggiunto qua giù.
Now, you can also work with the DC offset, which is basically like, the 0 line of the wave. Okay, so I'm not going to go into details into that. But anyway, so you can, have some more effects and types of modulations, very interesting.
Se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales, puoi trovare dell'arte sincera. Tanti artisti che ci hanno raggiunto qua giù. Se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales, puoi trovare dell'arte sincera. Tanti artisti.
Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show you the exciter part. So I'm gonna turn the saturator off, and I'm gonna show you the exciter, so you can actually hear what the exciter does. Basically, the exciter, what it does is it adds odd and even harmonics to the sound that goes through it. So I'm gonna show you first of all with the wet full 100%, what happens when you actually add some excitement on the odd harmonics, and then I'm going to show you what happens when the excitement with the even, and maybe then do a bit of both. So we're going to start with the odd harmonics.
Se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales, puoi trovare dell'arte sincera.
So obviously, when you exaggerate anything in this plugin, it kind of starts going very, very weird. I mean, not weird, but like it starts to become an effect where you might probably want to put it on parallel and not put it straight onto the track. Now let's try adding some even harmonics.
Se cammini lì in
That's
mezzo
without.
ai murales,
That's with.
puoi trovare dell'arte sincera.
As you can hear, the even harmonics make the voice, the vocals a lot more emphasized on the nasal part of the vocals, which is very interesting. But maybe if we have a bit of both added, not too much, we can actually have some a nice, a nice sound. Let's see.
Se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales,
So that's with.
puoi trovare dell'arte sincera. Tanti artisti che ci hanno raggiunto qua giù.
Without.
Se cammini lì in
Without.
mezzo ai murales,
With.
puoi trovare dell'arte sincera.
So I mean, you gotta have a bit of trial and error when you use these sort of plugins. I mean, there's no fixed good thing, and that's why there's no presets on this. You just gotta tweak it and tweak it to your liking. Now, last thing that I want to show you is the bit reducer. So the bit reducer, as you've probably guessed, is a is a section of the plugin where that it makes you reduce the resolution of your waves. So if you're working on 24 bits, which I am right now, as soon as you start going down, the the resolution of the wave goes more destroyed, and so you will hear a lot more add effects. So let's see what happens, and it can be a really cool effect if you want it. I don't suggest using it as an effect onto the track, but maybe it could be a side effect that is really cool. Anyway, let's see what it sounds like.
Se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales, puoi trovare dell'arte sincera. Tanti artisti che ci hanno raggiunto.
So, as you can hear, as soon as I've gone to 4 bits, the wave is so low resolution that the end result, it sounds very crackling. It sounds like it's almost peaking, but it's not, and it can be really cool. But I mean, of course, that's not what you want to, that's not how your voice you want it to sound like. Okay, so maybe we can use this effect and use it on a more dry situations, maybe something like this.
Se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales, puoi trovare dell'arte sincera.
It can be interesting. It may add some, some, I don't know, it may fill up some spaces in the mix, or with your voice, or with other instruments. Of course, you can use it on other instruments as well, which can add a little excitement onto the track. I mean, having vocals, I mean, sometimes can be really boring. So maybe you want that sort of, interesting thing going on. Anyway, so this is the Graphio. You can use it on multiband. So I'm just gonna tweak it now on multiband without saying anything. The only thing I want to say is you can choose the the section of the multiband that you want to work with. So for example, in this moment, the high section of the multiband is actually from 2500 hertz, and the low section is 250 hertz, and you can tweak these as much as you want. So maybe if you want to have more lows in the mid section, you just need to drop this down, and so on. Okay, so now I'm just gonna use these these three sections just like I did with the one section, and see what we can come up with. Make sure when you're using this, if you want to turn something on, that the light of the bypass button is not on. Because if the light is actually on, of course, it means that bypass is on. So this section is actually not working. And this is something which I've actually had some trouble with myself, because I was trying to work with this plugin by thinking that this light bulb needed to be on when I wanted to use one of the sections of the plugin. So that is a misconception. I mean, of course, it is actually more, I mean, it is logical if you think about it, but I mean, we're so used of seeing light bulbs on when we want something to work that seeing the bypass on is kind of weird. So that's maybe something that Hornet could think about. I mean, if that is really practical, because I mean, plugins have to be practical, right? So anyway, that is something, maybe a little, suggestion, okay? Because as a user myself, I felt a bit odd, turning off the bypass, okay? For me, the bypass is this. It's like the main bypass, okay? So then if you have a bypass, I'm much rather have like an on-off button, which makes more sense to me. I don't know. I mean, and especially like when I see a light bulb on, for me, like that plugin is working. It's just, and I think that is probably because of the digital side of plugins. I mean, because they're not real, looking at the lights on, it kind of helps you to actually imagine in your head that those plugins are actually working. Anyway, so let's try this plugin on multiband and see what happens. So I'm gonna just put everything to 0, and we're just gonna have a little tweak just for fun. Nothing fancy, just to show you the potentials of this plugin on multiband. Okay, so here we go. Make sure multiband is on. Everything is on. The saturator, excited. We're just going to leave the bit reducer because I'm not really interested in reducing bits. I want to have full resolution without any weird artifacts going on. So there it is. Here we go. Okay, so I've probably missed some things that I needed to remove. For example, these and something else. No, I think that's pretty much it. And now everything should be flat and cool. So let's give it a try. Hopefully I'm not gonna burn your ears, and let's see what happens. No, I think there's something going on as well. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna switch it. I'm gonna reload it, so I'm definitely sure that the Hornet Graphio is actually starting from scratch, because that's what we want. Okay, so this is the starting point. So I'm gonna start like this. So this is all clean. Let's start with this one.
Dell'arte sincera, tanti artisti che ci hanno raggiunto qua giù.
Okay, we have a bit of high saturation. Let's start with the excitement.
Se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales, puoi trovare dell'arte sincera.
Okay, that's cool.
Tanti artisti
Let's
che
go
ci
for the
hanno
lows.
raggiunto qua giù.
Okay, so we have some lows as well.
Se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales,
And then we're gonna have some mids.
puoi trovare dell'arte sincera. Tanti artisti che ci hanno raggiunto qua giù.
Okay.
Se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales,
Let's go without.
puoi trovare dell'arte sincera.
With.
Tanti artisti che ci hanno raggiunto qua giù.
Okay, so it gives a little warmth to the overall sound of the vocals. Now, I just tweaked it pretty much randomly. I didn't go very deep into, trying to find that specific sound, but I've mostly left the dry wet buttons to around 50-60%, except for a few sections where I left it 100%. But I mean, overall, it sounds pretty cool, and I think it can be a really helpful tool for a lot of people. And another thing that I didn't mention, you have an oversampling button, which obviously makes the sampling of this plugin a lot more precise. So maybe if you hear some artifacts, or you want to just use oversampling because you think it sounds better, please do so. And we're gonna try it right now, so we'll see the difference.
Se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales,
That's with oversampling, without.
puoi trovare dell'arte sincera. Tanti artisti che ci hanno raggiunto.
So just by turning it on and off, it sounds a lot more smoother. Anyway, now we're gonna have a look at a few other plugins very quickly, because I think we are running out of time. And one first plugin that I want to show you is the Hornet Spikes. So as you probably understood, and you probably can see it here, is a transient processor. So you can fix transients and try to make it sound better. So what I've done now, just to show you, I've put the transient designer Hornet Spikes onto the master track, so to show you can control the spikes of your overall track. So I'm gonna turn it off, and then I'm gonna turn it on. So this is off.
Se cammini lì in mezzo ai
I'm gonna
murales,
put the whole song on.
se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales, puoi trovare dell'arte sincera. Tanti artisti che ci hanno raggiunto qua giù.
So I think it had a major impact on the overall song, because the song now sounds a lot smoother. You can't hear all those very harsh spikes, which is really, really cool. Of course, if you put the spikes level not positive but negative, it's gonna do the complete opposite. So instead of trying squashing down a little bit the spikes, is actually trying to bring the spikes up. So that's what happens now.
Se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales, puoi trovare dell'arte.
Now, of course, you don't want to exaggerate with this plugin, because otherwise you end up with something like this. Sorry. There you go.
Se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales,
or something like this.
Se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales, puoi trovare dell'arte sincera. Tanti artisti che ci hanno raggiunto qua giù.
So as you can hear, basically what I've done, I've squashed completely the spikes. So basically I'm left with no dynamics. There's no more, transients. Basically it's like a really flat type of wave, and that's not what you want. Now, another thing that you have probably noticed, there's a limiter, which is an up limiter, a down limiter, which is really cool. In this case, I did not use it, but of course you can imagine what it does. So I don't think it's necessary to actually use it, but I'm just gonna do it for the sake of it, so you guys are happy, and I'm gonna show you, okay?
Se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales, puoi trovare dell'arte sincera. Tanti artisti che ci hanno raggiunto.
So I'm just basically controlling the overall volumes, that it does not exceed in any way a specific line. Now, another plugin that is very interesting about Hornet is the Dyna Queue, which is basically a dynamic equalizer. And it's fixed, so it's not with, it doesn't have multi-band sort of thing. You cannot, do different notches and all that sort of stuff. So you have just one band that you want to focus on, and you can tweak it to your liking. Now, the gain works basically like a gain reduction or a gain, extra gain. So if you want to add extra 3, 5, whatever dB, you can put it on the positive side, and basically as soon as the plugin touches the threshold, it's gonna add, that much amount of gain, or gonna remove that much amount of gain from that space of the frequency spectrum. So I'm gonna show you what I mean now. So now I've put the Dyna Queue on 4000 Hertz, just so it's very easy to pick it up. And I'm gonna put the gain up to -9 or something. So it could be really good, for example, de-esser, definitely. So let's see what happens when I do it very extreme. So now the Q is very should be broad, I think. I think it's broad. Anyway, we'll see.
Se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales, puoi trovare dell'arte sincera. Tanti artisti che ci hanno raggiunto qua giù. Arancia simpatica.
So as you can see, you can also put on auto the the threshold line, which is kind of interesting, and also the speed. You can choose how fast the actual the Dyna Queue actually attacks. In this case was on auto, but I can choose to go on 50 milliseconds or like huge. Let's try 50 milliseconds just to actually hear the...
Se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales, puoi trovare dell'arte sincera. Tanti artisti che
So that is definitely more natural because you don't have the starting trends and the starting of the attack of the the wave compressed, which is not what we want. So anyway, it can be interesting, this Dyna Queue, and we're gonna see the second last plugin, which is very interesting, and it's called the Elliptique. Now, Elliptique, basically what it is a stereo enhancer, but it's very specific to from 20 hertz to 2000 hertz. Now, as weird as it might sound, I mean, it can be very handy if you want to just work on one section of your stereo image. If you don't want to work, like, say, on the very highs, because sometimes you want to work just on specific frequencies. So I'm going to show you what it does, okay? So I'm going to put play. Here you have a correlation meter, which shows you the correlation of your stereo, of your frequencies from 2000 hertz to 30 hertz. Now, probably it is very important to fix problems of correlation in this area where you usually want it very mono. So if you want to work on that area, what you do is you put the fixed frequencies around, say, for example, 100 hertz, and you can choose the width. So if you want a very shallow Q or very wide Q, okay, you can choose, and then you just let it do its magic. And you can choose the slope. So for example, if you're not very extreme, go 48 dB per octave, and that's what we're gonna do, so you can actually hear a bit of difference. So let's see.
Se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales, puoi trovare dell'arte sincera. Tanti artisti che ci hanno raggiunto qua giù. Simpatica, ti illumini ancora stasera con gran dignità.
So of course the mono side of the very low bands is a lot more emphasized like this. Of course the how can I say it, the 100 hertz below frequencies were already a lot mono, so you should try this definitely on a track which has a lot more spread out bass frequencies, and that's gonna definitely make a change. And the last plugin that I want to show you is the Hornet VU Meter Mark IV, and as you probably guessed, it's probably their best value bang for the buck type of plugin, because it is Mark IV. They've reissued it 4 times because it is very one of their best sellers. So definitely go and check it out. It is VU meter. If for the ones that don't know what a VU meter is, it's basically a meter that shows you, basically, to make it very simple, how our ears react to sound. So if there's a peak, when the ear actually feels a peak, and when the ear actually feels a low type of volume, which is really cool, because you can actually it is very important for example, when you need to get the levels right, okay? And that is something that you cannot do with other type of meterings, because you need a meter that shows you for your ear, and obviously also in terms of meters where your zero is. And what I mean by zero is the actual, not the actual 0 dB dBFS, but what I mean is the 0 dB on VU, which is the voltage unit. So we need to have a 0 dB, which is related to the old way of looking at the zero, which is basically the real zero, because when we're going to translate our digital song into the real world, we're going to need to have it on something that actually uses electrical current to actually work. So it is really important. Anyway, I'm not gonna go too much into it. Maybe actually confuse your mind with these words. I don't know if I explained it right, but anyway, we're gonna do another video about this maybe. And what you need to know, if you're not into this, you need to know that the reference point in this case is minus 18 dB, because minus 18 dB, it is considered the zero VU in terms of the zero basically on in relation to the dBFS. So dB full scale minus 18 equals 0 on the zero VU. So that's what we're trying to aim for. And anyway, so let's see. So basically, if our levels are right, the song should be mostly on this area of the VU meter. Okay, and we should see some peaks and some low parts, because we need air to make this song sound nice. So let's see what happens.
Se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales, puoi trovare dell'arte sincera. Tanti artisti che ci hanno raggiunto.
Now there's a very cool feature about this VU meter, which is the auto gain basically. So what it does is it listens to the song, listens to the track, or to the to the channel that you put it on, and it's going to automatically fix it to a specific target. Now the target in this case is 0 VU. So what is going to do is going to set the levels at 0 VU. So if they go too high, it's going to drop it down a little bit. So let's see.
Se cammini lì in mezzo ai murales, puoi trovare dell'arte sincera. Tanti artisti che ci hanno raggiunto qua giù.
So as you can see here, what it's doing is actually changing the gain of the track. Because so it's really important to notice that this VU meter actually works in a very interesting way. So what it does is it actually uses the overall track to balance out the whole track, so that the VU, I mean the peaks never exceed that zero line if the zero VU is your target. Okay, so what it means is it basically does a overall perception of the track. It gets all the levels, and so in order to make it work right, you need to let it through the whole track, the whole track, because otherwise it's not going to set the levels right. Or maybe at least get the if you don't have time for for whatever reason, go to the part of the track which has more volume, which is the loudest, and let it calculate that part, so you can actually get the right levels of in according to the target. Okay, so that is a really cool simple but really cool tool that you can use a lot of times when you don't have time to do the levels yourself. Maybe you need to go very fast and you need a someone that does it for you, and the Hornet VU Meter Mark IV does it for you, and in a very very responsible and cool way. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found something interesting about these plugins. If you don't know where to check them out, go and check them out on the link that I've put in the description below, and just go and look, or otherwise go on Google and look for the Hornet Plugins, and you will find their website. I'm pretty sure right now they're on sale, because I've checked out their website a few days ago, and I think there's a pretty cool sales, and a few of these plugins are fairly cheap, so you can probably get them for even cheaper. So guys, what are you waiting for? I mean, they're awesome tools, they're very handy tools, and they are very you can use them on any project. And as I said, also sometimes the presets sound really cool, so why don't you go and check them out yourself? There's a free time trial, I'm pretty sure, just like any other plugin. So if you guys are interested in checking them out before buying them, you can do so as well. Now, before we leave, please subscribe to the channel, put the bell button, and if you want to support the channel economically, you can do so on Patreon. Now, my Patreon site is Paolo Motta 900. I'm gonna put the link below as well. And if you guys are interested about on all these things that we talk about here, plugins, free plugins, as a lot of times I do videos when I find free plugins for a limited time, and so if you guys want to know and get notified anytime I do these sort of videos, please put the bell button so you can get notified as soon as they get uploaded, because especially the free plugins, they have a very short amount of time that are available. Sometimes you find them just for a few days, and if you don't get them at the right time, you lose them. So guys, bell button is really the way to go. And if you guys are interested in any other plugins, or you want me to review any other plugins, please write them in the comments. Or if you want to talk about any other topics about production, about music, about guitar, anything, just write it in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Now, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you next time.